This afternoon, the retrial for a man charged with homicide is underway in Madison. We'll show you what could be different this time around.
Plus, as the new year starts at universities, schools are receiving fake active shooter threats. We'll tell you how UW-Madison responded to one today.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Let's start with the weather. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano is watching the forecast, and dare I say it, this is sweater weather, yes. Jacob? It's so refreshing.
It's funny you say that because this morning when I stepped outside, it was the first time I put a sweater on to go outside in a few months. But those temperatures have definitely been below normal. 60s across the board. Well, not completely across the board, but mostly in the 60s across southern Wisconsin. And this was the case yesterday as well. Now, as we take a look at the highs for today, they're basically what they are right now, upper 60s, and they're not going to rise any further, at least not by a ton, maybe a degree or two before the day is over. But for the most part, the temperatures we're seeing right now, these are the warmest temperatures we've seen all day. We also have been very dry, so with the sun shining, it has made it feel a little bit warmer. And the reason for these cooler temperatures is we are seeing a little bit of a northwesterly wind around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Not too bad overall with the winds, but as I mentioned, is keeping those temperatures down. On top of the fact that we have that big high pressure across the Great Lakes region, which is not only keeping the temperatures down, but also keeping the conditions dry. And that's been the case throughout much of the day. And this is going to continue throughout the evening and overnight. We'll see clear skies, temperatures in the 60s. Overnight lows, though, could drop into the upper 40s. So it is going to be another chilly morning to start your Tuesday. But Tuesday afternoon will be a little bit warmer, however, still below normal for this time of the year. But I'll talk more in detail about the rest of the week and show you our next chance of rain coming up a bit later.
All right, sounds good, Jacob. Thank you. Right now, universities around the country are investigating false active shooter alerts.
Last week, the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga and Villanova University in Pennsylvania both briefly locked down their campuses for active shooter alerts that turned out to be untrue. Over the weekend, the University of South Carolina had a similar experience, and we're learning the same thing happened on the Iowa State University campus today.
Now, because of the false active shooter alerts across the country, UW-PD began preparations in the event that they received a false alert.
And their preparations would actually pay off this morning. News 3 Now's Jalen Banks joins us live from Library Mall with how the department quickly detected the false alert. Jalen.
Brady and Susan, this morning UW-PD received a similar false active shooter alert like so many universities have received over the past few days. Just after 11 a.m. this morning, Dane County 911 Center received a call to its non-emergency line from an individual stating there was a person with an automatic rifle inside the Memorial Library and said there had been 2 shots fired. UW-PD's Mark Levicott tells me the fact that the call came to the non-emergency line for the Dane County 911 Center was the first sign that the call was suspicious.
And we've had this happen to us before. And what we've learned is, first and foremost, we should, in an incident like that, we should get more than one phone call. And in this incident, we got one phone call, nothing else was happening. While police were responding, literally within seconds, our dispatchers were able to pull up security cameras looking inside and outside the Memorial Library and noticed it was business as usual.
Levicott tells me UW-PD goes through active shooter training every year. Now, he also tells me that this is an active investigation. They're still trying to find the source of the call, and they're trying to take any tips that they can for the time being. If you're a student at UW-Madison, you can submit tips through the Badger Safe app. We'll continue to keep you updated both on air, online as we gather more information. But for now, reporting live from Library Mall, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
All right, Jalen, thank you. A retrial for the man charged with the murder of a 20-year-old more than 2 years ago is underway. Devontae Gafford is charged with homicide for the 2023 death of Devon Grant. Gafford went to trial on that charge and others last year, but jurors could not agree on whether he was guilty of murder.
The alleged homicide took place at the Harmony Apartments in Madison, which has been troubled with crime for years now. News 3 Now has been covering this story story since Grant's death. Our Maddie Heimsch will bring us live coverage of what to expect at this week's trial later on Live at 4.
We have breaking news this afternoon on the search for a man who jumped from a tour boat into the Wisconsin River. The Juneau County Sheriff's Office says the search for that man is over. Dive teams recovered the body of the 41-year-old man at 12:16 this afternoon. There is no foul play suspected, but the investigation is ongoing.
Tonight, the Sun Prairie School Board will meet amid continued fallout from its handling of a child sex crimes case. Since the arrest and charging of former Sun Prairie West High School Dean of Students Robert Gilkey-Meisgeyer, the board has faced questions and anger from parents. A criminal complaint alleges Gilkey-Meisgeyer committed child sex crimes on school grounds. The complaint says when the school was notified about those alleged crimes, it did not report them to police. Tanisha Shaw is covering today's meeting and will have that coverage later on News 3 Now.
A Beloit contractor charged with felony theft received a $1,000 bond today. Joshua Wilkes is the owner of Rock County Fence and Deck. He's accused of taking a full payment in March of last year from a homeowner to remove and rebuild a deck. However, he removed the old deck in October and never returned to rebuild it. This allowed animals to burrow under the house through the exposed ground.
Wilkes has multiple open cases for unpaid taxes and is also being sued by First Community Credit Union. This case follows a similar story we broke in June, resolved by Madison's Call for Action team. It involves a Janesville man who successfully got a refund after his deck was never built. If convicted, Wilkes could be sentenced to up to 6 years in prison and fined up to $10,000. His next court date is on September 22nd.
Well, 20 years after Hurricane Katrina ravaged New Orleans, employees at the agency responsible for responding to disasters are sounding the alarm.
Why they say we could see another catastrophe with the devastation mirroring that of Katrina in the near future.
And we've had some refreshing weather the past few days. Jacob will tell us whether the trend will continue in his first warn forecast.
Plus, federal troops in D.C. are now armed, where the president wants to deploy them next when we're back.
In national news, some of the troops the president has deployed to the nation's capital are now carrying weapons. A spokesman for the National Guard says troops will only use force in response to an imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm. As D.C. residents take to the streets in protest, the president is doubling down on his efforts to fight crime, publicly eyeing up another city.
We may wait, we may or may not. We may just go in and do it, which is probably what we should do. Chicago desperately needs help.
Leaders in Chicago say they're exploring legal options if the president deploys troops to their city.
The fact that he's not embracing the collaboration that you usually do to deploy the National Guard, communicating to the governor, means that it's another step towards authoritarianism, that he's operating as a dictator, turning the military against the American citizens in cities on American land is unprecedented and it's unheard of.
Chicago police statistics show crime in the city is down 13% compared to last year.
In the Middle East, more than a dozen people are dead, including 5 journalists and 4 healthcare workers, after an Israeli strike on a hospital in Gaza. And that strike happened this morning, hours after Israel struck Yemen's Houthis. The strike was in response to the Iran-backed group firing a new type of missile at Israel. At least 4 people died and dozens got hurt during Israel's strike on the Yemen capital.
More than 180 current and former FEMA employees are warning that the Trump administration's cuts to their agency could lead to a catastrophe like the one seen after Hurricane Katrina. The letter coincides with the 20th anniversary of the hurricane, where more than 1,800 people died, and there were profound failures in the federal response that promoted Congress to pass reforms. In the letter addressed to Congress, the employees said, quote, "We find ourselves on the 20th anniversary of a disaster that reshaped the nature of emergency management, only 2 months removed from a mass casualty flooding event in Kerrville, Texas, which proved the inefficiencies, ineffectiveness, and dangers of the processes and decisions put forth by the current administration."
The employees said as that disaster unfolded, FEMA's mission was obstructed by leadership who questioned the agency's existence and put cost-cutting above serving the American people. The Texas floods killed at least 135 people, including more than 30 children.
The president met with the president of South Korea today to secure a deal to avoid tariffs. The meeting could clarify details of a July trade deal between the U.S. and Seoul that has South Korea investing hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S. The agreement set tariffs on South Korean goods at 15% after the president threatened rates as high as 25%. The South Korean president will be in the U.S. until tomorrow.
On Wall Street, stocks closed lower today. The Dow dropped 349 points. The Nasdaq is down 47. The S&P 500 is down 28.
Southwest Airlines is changing its seating policy for plus-size passengers. Starting January 27th, people who take up space in the neighboring seat will have to buy an extra ticket and may not be refunded. The current rules allow flyers to buy an extra seat ahead of time and then get refunded later or request an extra seat at no charge at the airport. The new rules mean the second seat will be non-refundable unless the flight departs with a seat already open in the same fare class.
A wildfire is spreading in California's wine country. The picket fire has already burned nearly 7,000 acres, and it's only 11% contained. Fueled by hot and dry conditions, the flames turned the sky into this eerie scene yesterday. Check it out. Napa County officials have declared a state of emergency.
It's steep, rugged, inaccessible terrain.
And more extreme weather in the west. In the state of Oregon, the flat fires burned more than 22,000 acres. In Nevada, a massive dust storm ripped through the Burning Man Festival, destroying some camps in the makeshift Black Rock City.
Boy, it just shows us how lucky we are. Our weather is clear and cool and almost crisp outside this afternoon. Jacob?
Yeah, it's going to continue to be very nice. Just a few small chances of rainfall over the next 10 days, specifically on Thursday. But we're going to see mostly highs in the 70s going forward. And beyond Thursday, there really isn't much rain in the forecast through Labor Day, maybe in the middle of next week. But it's going to remain dry for the next 7 days. And looking at the cloud cover and rainfall forecast, almost no chance of rain for tonight or tomorrow and most of Wednesday as well. We'll start to see some of those showers move in Wednesday night, mostly being in the form of some showers. Could see an isolated thunderstorm or two, but for the most part, just a few showers, especially Wednesday night into Thursday morning, maybe a little bit more shower activity Thursday afternoon. But most of the day will feature fairly dry conditions, and then we'll continue to see that dry weather once we head into Friday and for most of Labor Day weekend as well. So looking at the rainfall that's expected over the next 7 days, this goes through Labor Day. Some areas may barely pick up 1/10 of an inch, maybe even less than that. It's going to continue to be very, very dry. Like I mentioned, we could see a little bit more rain towards the middle of next week, but looking specifically at the 7-day rain chance, small chance Wednesday night and Thursday, maybe a little bit over Labor Day weekend, but a lot can change between now and then. We're very likely to be dry through the day on Wednesday and then also to end the work week into Saturday. Now, taking a look at the temperatures, it's going to be another chilly night. Lows will be dropping into the upper 40s with clear skies. And as we head into tomorrow, we are going to see 70s a little bit more likely, but still in the lower 70s and overall still below normal for this time of the year. And as we head into Wednesday, we'll continue to see the temperatures warm up. Like I mentioned, could see some showers at night, but plenty of sunshine during the day with highs once again in the 70s. And looking at the overall 7 to 10 day forecast, most of the next 10 days, at least the next 7, will feature highs in the middle to lower 70s, which is below normal for this time of the year. Could see some warmer temperatures and maybe some rainfall for the middle of next week, but for now, this week is looking very, very nice. As I mentioned, Thursday, not really going to produce a lot of rainfall, although there will be at least a chance of it. So we're going to continue to see some very nice weather across the area. I'm a big fan of the temperatures we're seeing right now. They are going to warm up a little bit, but still hard to complain about that forecast.
I have my crock pot on standby, so spring season's upon us.
That's the good season, yeah. And for all those people moving into campus, you know, it's always the hottest week of the year.
Not this time.
Not this time. This time they win. Yeah, good things.
And I also, today was the first day I noticed the top of some trees started to look a little red.
Did you really?
Yeah, I noticed a few. Very few, but yeah, it's a sign though.
All right, thank you, Jacob.
Well, speaking of weather, morning meteorologist Savannah Brito went on a fun adventure over the weekend.
She's showing us a fun new way to work out right here in Madison.
You may have heard about sip and stretch, maybe even goat yoga, but how about puppy yoga right here in Madison? I've been wanting to try this out for several weeks, and now's our chance. Come on.
We know that yoga reduces stress, right? It reduces cortisol, it's our stress hormone. But puppies, they increase oxytocin, which is our love chemical. So we started at the end of October last year, and we started with just once a month, kind of seeing like where it would go. And then all of a sudden it just kind of grew and people were driving 2 hours to come. The puppies are from different either breeders or shelters. The owner, Tatiana Lutsenko, always partners with a different breeder and or shelter. The puppies always kind of match the personality of the class because it's always different. And they're really fun and playful like the group is. And then one day it was like rainy and it was quiet and the puppies were quiet and everyone was a little bit more like, okay, let's just chill. The community has actually really responded. Every single class, I feel like we have a different group of puppies, a different group of people, and it's all about like just fun, light playfulness. And I guess for me, that's like my instructor, like core heart. Like working out doesn't have to be hard. We make it heavy. Self-love, self-care, whatever you want to call it, taking time for you. It can be fun, it can be light, it can be playful, just like a puppy. And so maybe you don't want to go run today, but you want to come to puppy yoga and sit on a mat and maybe do 0 of the yoga poses I'm telling you. I'm okay with it. If you smiled once, like, let's do it. If I can have someone walk away and be a little more light, a little more loving, a little more playful, like, game on, let's go.
Well, thank you, Savannah. I was wondering how many people just stopped doing yoga to play with the puppies.
It looks like a lot.
Yeah.
And that would be me too.
Yeah.
That would be so fun though.
Yeah.
I think they'd notice if I just slipped it under my,
no
made a
one would
run
tell.
for it.
Where'd that puppy go?
Yeah, that was so cute. I'd love to try that sometime.
Yeah. Well, a heads up for Badger fans ahead of the first game on Thursday. News 3 Now has a special show with everything you need to know.
The Badgers are back. The 30-minute special Wisconsin Game Day will air immediately after News 3 Now at 6 on Thursday. Eric Franke and sports director Andrew Banstra will host the special. We'll have a preview of their coverage right here on News 3 Now before the Badgers take on Miami of Ohio.
It'll be very exciting, and it's football weather for sure.
It certainly is.
Well, still ahead, a new film from one of the Coen brothers didn't really make a big splash at the box office. But does that mean you shouldn't see it?
Will Loper gives us his review of Honey, Don't when Live at 4 returns.
Well, the latest film by director Ethan Coen finished 7th at the box office this weekend.
Margaret Qualley, who is actress Andie MacDowell's daughter, plays a private eye in Honey, Don't. Is it worth seeing? Well, here's local film critic Will Loper's review.
May, Susan, and Brady. Netflix's K-pop Demon Hunters won the box office this past weekend, giving Netflix its very first theatrical win. Meanwhile, the newest film in theaters, Honey, Don't, ended in 7th, making just $3 million. But is it worth seeing?
The address you wanted? Thanks, MG. Honey, right? Love those click-clacking heels.
Honey, Don't comes from one half of the Coen brothers, Ethan Coen, who directed the film and co-wrote with Trisha Cook.
Me and Novotny. Are you aware of any trouble she was in?
Well, she owe you money?
She was afraid of something the cops couldn't help her with. I said I'd help.
The film stars Margaret Qualley as Honey Donahue, a private detective who starts looking into the death of a woman.
Why is a private investigator looking into a traffic fatality?
What can you tell me about?
Do you drink?
Heavily. It's a point of pride.
Along the way, we meet a colorful cast of characters that includes Aubrey Plaza as a police officer and Chris Evans as a sleazy cult leader.
Should you and I discuss this over a drink?
Tuesdays I dry out.
Today's Wednesday.
Today is Tuesday.
And while the Coen brothers are known for their crime capers that range from the comedic with The Big Lebowski,
I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
to the serious with No Country for Old Men,
Call it.
and somewhere in between with Fargo.
I'd be very surprised if our suspect was from Brainerd.
Yeah. This particular outing isn't nearly as successful or tightly written as those films with both brothers. Still, Honey Don't does provide enough surprising plot twists and funny moments to make the film worth one watch, at least on streaming. For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
I want to see that, but now I want to rewatch Fargo.
I agree.
One of my
Just
favorites.
seeing the clip, that's one of my favorites too. Doesn't she look like her mother?
Yeah, especially with the curly hair.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stream it. All right, WISC-TV and Television Wisconsin have upgraded our over-the-air broadcast system with 2 new transmitters.
And if you watch us on an antenna and you're having trouble getting the clearer picture, you'll need to rescan your TV, and there's still plenty of time to do that. It's very easy. Just go into your TV's menu, select Settings, Channel Scan, or Auto Tune. And all of the detailed instructions are available at channel3000.com. If you watch Live at 4 on cable, satellite, or streaming, no action is needed.
Thanks for watching,
yes,
by the way.
Thank you for watching. In our next half hour, some students will have fewer classmates in school this year.
How lawmakers are proposing they deal with the problem to save resources.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having us in on this Monday afternoon. Today marks the start of a trial for the man accused of a homicide outside of a troubled Madison apartment complex.
News 3 Now's Maddie Heimsch is live outside of the Dane County Courthouse where the trial will take place. So, Maddie, what can you tell us about the case?
The trial that will take place this week is a retrial for Devonte Gafford. As you guys mentioned, he's one of the men accused of shooting and killing 20-year-old Devon Grant just outside of the Harmony Apartments over 2 years ago in July of 2023. Now, Gafford faced a jury last year that was in February of 2024. We have video here of him taking the stand himself during that trial, where he was found guilty of possessing a firearm as a convicted felon, but the jury deadlocked on the other 2 charges, those being first-degree reckless safety as a party to a crime and first-degree intentional homicide as a party to a crime. And with the jury, the judge declared a mistrial. That leads us to this week.
The simplest way to put it, it's a do-over. Both parties start from scratch. You pick a new jury, you present evidence. Sometimes a party can choose to include different evidence than they did in the first trial. There's no barrier to producing new evidence. There's no requirement that they present the same evidence they did last time.
That's clinical law professor John Gross with what we can expect heading into this week's trial. And coming up on News 3 at 5 and 6, I speak with Alicia Grant, mother of victim Devon Grant, about her upcoming testimony and what the trial means for her family. But for now, reporting live in downtown Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Maddie. News 3 Now will be covering the trial all week, and you can receive updates directly to your phone with the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
Turning now to your first warn forecast. Let's take a look outside. Oh, this is the beautiful Military Memorial on Highway 12. Many of you have probably driven past that many times. What a perfect, look at the Simpsons clouds, we call them.
Someone photographed that.
Staying pleasantly cool are the weather words. Jacob is watching the weather. It's feeling like fall, Jacob.
Yeah, 60s for much of southern Wisconsin throughout the day. Right now, we're mostly in the 60s, and these are the high temperatures we've seen throughout the day. Yesterday was mostly in the 60s as well. Madison did see a high of 70, but other areas saw highs staying in the 60s. And as I mentioned today, these have basically been the high temperatures as well. Now, a big reason for these cooler temperatures is we're seeing a little bit of a breeze out of the northwest, only around 10 to 15 miles per hour, so not too bad, but that along with the high pressure pressure system has been keeping those temperatures down, and it's also been causing the rainfall to stay away from our area. We continue to be very dry. That's going to be the case throughout the evening. Temperatures dropping into the 50s by around 8 to 9 p.m. and then possibly dropping into the 40s as we head towards Tuesday morning. So it will be another chilly start to the day. But afternoon highs for Tuesday are expected to be a little bit warmer compared to today, as we are expected to get into the lower 70s with more sunshine and continuing to see pretty much no chance of rain other than maybe an isolated sprinkle here or there. We are going to see a little bit of a better chance of rain later in the week, but for the most part, we're not going to see much. So I'll talk more about that rainfall forecast coming up a bit later.
Thanks, Jacob. The Madison Police Department is investigating after shots were fired in the city's downtown area overnight. Just before midnight, officers responded to multiple calls of shots fired in the area of Carroll and Gilman Streets. In addition to finding shell casings at the intersection, officers say a bullet hit a nearby building. People were in the building at the time, but thankfully no one was hurt.
As students are getting ready to go back to school, some districts in our state are facing fewer students returning to classrooms.
And that's prompting some discussions of consolidating school districts to save resources. Political reporter Will Keneally shows us.
Some smaller districts may consider consolidating into larger districts in order to save money on overhead costs, for example. And that's something that lawmakers in the state capitol are looking at too, ways to make that easier for school districts. We spoke with the chair of the Elon Musk-esque efficiency committee about what that would look like.
I mean, I have 2 school districts in my district that they're literally 8 minutes apart. And it's market demand. They've been forced to sort of partner up and say, hey, we can share an administrator, we can share like I said, maybe special services that are only used half-time at each school.
And we'll have more on this coming up tonight at 6, as well as how some school districts in southern Wisconsin near us here are considering that consolidation. Reporting in Madison, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Will. And college students are heading back to school soon, too. This week, UW-Madison is welcoming nearly 9,000 students back to UW residence halls. Move-in started yesterday and will continue through Wednesday. For the southeast dorms, Park Street by Chadbourne Hall will be northbound only from University to Langdon, and Lake Street by Whitty Hall northbound only from Dayton to Johnson. Dayton by Celery and Ogg Halls will be westbound only from Francis to Park Street. To accommodate move-in to the Lakeshore dorms, Observatory Drive will be westbound only from Charter to Van Nuys to Babcock by Microbial Sciences. It's a mess on campus, yes. Basically. It's going to be very crowded over the next couple days, so expect delays, and Metro Transit buses will also be detoured around the congestion.
Could you repeat all that so I can write it down?
Exactly. Got that?
Yeah. As the U.S. continues to work for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, the president is hoping it will earn him a Nobel Peace Prize.
We'll sit down with an expert on the topic about the president's chances of winning a little later on Live at 4.
And lows this week will be in the upper 40s. Jacob shows us whether these temperatures are normal for this time of year in his forecast.
We're taking a live look at Titletown, Lambeau Field, where a good game on Saturday. The Packers beat the Seahawks in their final preseason game of the season.
But before their first regular season game, the Pack could see some changes to the team.
Our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde explains.
We're just 23 hours away from the 3 p.m. deadline tomorrow for teams, including the Green Bay Packers, to trim their rosters from 90 to 53. Now, they won't be saying goodbye to 37 players. They will have some that come back on various injured lists. And then once they've been released, 16 players will be brought back, or at least many of them from that group will be brought back onto the practice squad. So lots of decisions certainly to be made by tomorrow. There are a number of players on the bubble. And now at 4, I'm going to give you 2 players from the defensive side. And then at 5, I'm going to give you 2 players from the offensive side. The 2 players that I think are fascinating on the defensive side, one of them is cornerback Kamal Hadden, who had a fantastic game against the Seahawks on Saturday, broke up a couple of passes. almost inadvertently took out his quarterback when he was chasing down a play and Jordan Love was doing a sideline interview during the TV broadcast. But at a position that they're not super deep at corner, Kamal Haddon has had a strong camp. And then on the defensive line, Nazir Stackhouse, who is a defensive lineman from Georgia, his teammate Warren Brinson was also at Georgia. They lined up together a lot during the preseason. He has battled narcolepsy for many years, but he has been an awakening on the defensive line for this group. I expect him to keep the Packers streak alive of having at least one undrafted free agent on their roster to start the season since 2005. You can read all about both those guys and a host of others who are on the bubble at channel3000.com for free. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, which gets our Packers coverage delivered directly to your inbox every day. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Jason. Coming up, the president is hoping for the Nobel Peace Prize, but can he get it?
We'll sit down with a local expert on the topic when Live at 4 returns.
The winner of the Nobel Peace Prize is announced every year on the first Friday of October. The actual ceremony is held in December in Oslo, Norway.
The official list of nominees is kept confidential. However, President Trump has touted his efforts in Ukraine and other conflict as reasons that he deserves the prize this year. Former Assembly Speaker Tom Loftus was at the center of 5 Nobel Peace Prizes as President Bill Clinton's ambassador to Norway in the 90s. And he is also the author of the book, Mission to Oslo. Ambassador Loftus, welcome back to you.
Well, thank you. Great to be back.
Yeah, good to see you again.
You were in the room where it happened when it comes to the Nobel Peace Prize 5 times. Explain to us how the nomination process works.
Well, when Alfred Nobel set up the prize in his will, when he died in 1896, he left money for prizes. And most of the prizes are in Stockholm. They're given in Stockholm. But the Peace Prize is given in Norway. Nobel thought the Norwegians were more peaceful than the Swedes. The committee that awards the prize is comprised of 5 people who are nominated by the 5 political parties in the Norwegian parliament. And then they have a director who handles the thing and vets the nominations. The nominations run in the hundreds every year because it's a pretty loose group that can make the nominations.
Yeah, and it's a lot of big names have received this prize, and it's a touchstone of someone's legacy. I know I've been reading President Trump would like to receive the prize. What do you think the odds are of him receiving it?
Well, we have to get real here. There's 2 things. One, it is a peace prize. It's not a prize for a ceasefire or a truce. You know, we have, I mean, it has to be a peace with a treaty. The second thing about reality here is going to be announced in 5 weeks. So the committee has already had the nominees, had vetted them, and is choosing, probably has already chosen one.
We should mention President Trump has officially been nominated by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Prime Minister of Cambodia as well.
It is clear that the war in Ukraine is not going to end in peace soon, nor is the war in Gaza. And the Nobel Peace Prize Committee will take that into consideration. Secondly, we're in a period of rearmament and an expansion of nuclear weapons. This all brought on by President Putin. So it is unlikely that any American or any American group will get the prize. You can imagine the vetting that goes on to someone, for someone. And the prize usually in the last many decades has been given to help the recipient in their future endeavors. Nelson Mandela, the prize was to help him when he became president of the New South Africa. Many prizes dealing with non-proliferation of nuclear weapons.
Do you have a guess who it might go to this year? Do you have a feeling about it?
You know, you can bet on this prize. You can bet in Las Vegas on this prize. And I looked at the list. None of them were going to get.
Could make some money, huh?
Yeah.
It's always such an honor to have you on here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Great to see you, Tom. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And if you like these comfortable temperatures, the weather sure is a prize for you. Here is Jacob Montesano with his first warn forecast.
Yeah, and the temperatures are going to remain pretty comfortable. They'll warm up a little bit, but we're still going to talk about highs in the lower 70s, so not too far off from what we've seen the last 2 days. Now, as we take a look at our next chance of rain, it will come Thursday, but we're not expected to see a big rainfall, but just a few passing showers are possible. And other than Thursday, we're really not going to see much in the forecast, especially through Labor Day, maybe a little bit more for the middle of next week. But looking at the rainfall forecast from now until Wednesday night, there's almost no chance of rain. Can't completely rule out an isolated shower, but the showers will become a little bit more likely Wednesday night and into Thursday. But notice how briefly they are going to occur. And although we could see some additional shower activity Thursday afternoon, the rain will mostly be in the form of showers rather than thunderstorms, although a few isolated storms could still be possible. Once we get to Friday, we're going to see those clear skies again, with dry conditions continuing into the early portion of the weekend. And looking at the amount of precipitation that is expected over the next 7 days. This goes through Labor Day. We're barely going to see 1/10 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch, but a lot of the region not expected to see much. It's possible some areas don't even see a single drop from now until then. So looking specifically at those rain chances, again, Wednesday night into Thursday, it will increase a little bit, but still not going to see much. Almost certainly going to be dry through the day on Wednesday, and then to end the work week into the early portion of the weekend. Might see some showers for later in the weekend for Labor Day, but not expected to see much. As far as temperatures, another cool night's expected. Lows will be in the upper 40s with clear skies, and for highs tomorrow, excuse me, they are going to be a little bit warmer, but still below normal for this time of the year. And for the most part, we're going to continue to see high temperatures in the middle to lower 70s, with the average high supposed to be in the upper 70s. So it is going to remain very comfortable across the board. Again, some of the overnight hours will definitely be chilly into those morning hours, but we are going to be dry, and the afternoons are going to be borderline perfect. Again, a chance of rain Thursday with some small chances of rain for Labor Day weekend, maybe a little bit more rain and some warmer temperatures for the middle of next week.
Well, if you're a cookie lover who loves doing something good in the community, listen up.
A Girl Scout troop in Madison is holding a bake sale to raise money for a 4th grader named Case, who has been diagnosed with a rare brain tumor. Several troop members know the young boy, and they want to show their support. The money from the bake sale will help his family travel to and from Case's medical appointments. The bake sale is over the next 2 weekends at the Madison Farmers Market, and you can also donate via the GoFundMe and Caring Bridge sites. We have those links under this story on our website. Yeah, very nice when the community comes together like that to support someone.
Especially. Good luck, Case. We're going to get a lot of cookies sold for you. And maybe some hot chocolate to go with them today. I mean, it's not that cool, but it does feel like the seasons are changing.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very warm if these were the temperatures, you know, in November or February, but they're happening in August, and it definitely feels cool compared to where we have been. Not necessarily the last week, but earlier in the month, we certainly saw some hot temperatures, but not seeing those hot temperatures going forward. They are going to remain below normal. A little bit warmer compared to today and yesterday for the rest of the week, but still lower 70s when the average high is in the upper 70s this time of the year.
Looks like a great Labor Day weekend, too.
Oh, for sure. Just a few small chances of rain.
All right. Thanks, Jacob. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, why those who are responsible for caring for you often don't seek medical care for themselves. And coming up on News Now at 5, how UW police handled a fake shooter threat without alerting the campus. Well, thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. And remember, we're always streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.